This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
Well, hi there. Glad to have you along for the next 30 minutes. If you're a regular to the show, then you know how this works. I'm Ray.
And I'm Kenny, and this is what's on today's program. First off, it's a crop we rarely talk about on the show, but surprisingly, it's proven to be beneficial for those who grow them. Damon Jones reports on this year's carrot harvest and why one grower thinks more and more people should consider planting them in their field.
Also on the show, she wanted to learn as much about cattle management as possible, so we said, why not? Let's give her a microphone and let her be a part of the story. A special report from one of Farm Bureau's newest additions, Logan Barnes.
And then later, tapping into nature's sweetness. Take a trip with us to Virginia and see how residents there turned a simple hobby into a money-making adventure. These stories and so much more starting right now on the Farm Monitor.
Whether you're dipping them into your favorite dressing, throwing them into soups, or even making them into juice, carrots are one of the most consumed vegetables in the world. And while it's not big business here in Georgia, Damon Jones takes a look at one operation that takes the crop very seriously.
Like much of southeast Georgia, Smith Farm is preparing their field for the Vidalia onion harvest. However, unlike most farmers around the area, they have also decided to grow a much lesser known crop, carrots. It's a decision that wasn't taken lightly considering the startup cost.
And about 6 years ago, I was that fortunate enough to get into the carrot business and partnered with people out of Canada, Moss & Son. It's a family operation there as well. And everything I grow goes directly to them, and then they repack it and distribute it to chain stores in Canada. It was pretty big. It was a big investment. A lot of equipment you're seeing outside and all. It was a big investment. The chiller to keep the carrots cold and the polisher and all that, it was expensive.
And so far, this year's crop appears to be a bumper one. That's good news considering an unseasonably chilly winter kept last year's yield down.
We've had our ups and downs. This year right now looks like we got a very good crop. Last year we had a very short crop, but the crop looks favorable, and that's partially due to the warm weather. You know, we've had a warm winter. It hadn't been really that cold, so they've really grown.
That's also good news for the consumers, as just like the onion grown here in this area of the state, the carrots are a little bit sweeter and, of course, fresher.
Yes, they are. They're sweeter. We like to think it's because of the soil and the climate, but our carrots are definitely a little sweeter than what they have in Canada. And of course, the ones they have in Canada has been in storage since November, December as well. They're just not quite as fresh. They could be on the truck going to Canada this afternoon and be in the store by the end of the week. So it's a pretty quick turnover.
Despite that speedy process from the field to the consumer, quality control is still at a premium before these carrots are boxed up.
They grade the carrots better than I would. They really take pride in what we put in that box. And of course I have Teresa and Mercedes that check the line constantly, and we stay on top of our quality. Fortunately, we have good quality. When you have good quality, it's easy. Last year it was a little harder, but we have to make sure that what we put in that box and send to Canada is a number one product.
They want it to be the safest product as well, as the carrots and machinery must pass vigorous daily inspections.
We have to keep record of the water temperature. We have to make sure that the water is treated properly. We have to document every day that we have cleaned and sanitized the line. The trailers that you saw us harvesting into, it has to be cleaned and sanitized regularly, as well as the equipment. It's an everyday, never-ending, ongoing process, but it's the most important thing we do.
While this will be the 6th carrot harvest for Smith Farms, Powell knows growing this crop is a constant learning process.
Well, there's only 4 or 5 packers in the state of Georgia that pack carrots on a commercial level. There may be some grown, in gardens or, truck gardens, but commercially there's only 4 or 5, and it's a tough crop to grow. I've been growing carrots for 6 years, and yes, it's every year it's something new, something different that you learn, which that's the enjoyable part of farming, as well as being outside.
Reporting from Tattnall County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Meantime, it's a question being asked not just here in Georgia, but nationwide. That question, how do we get kids involved in agriculture? And more importantly, if they are involved, how do we get them to return to their farm roots? Folks in Blakely County may have a solution, as John Holcomb reports.
Agriculture is Georgia's largest industry, but even though that's the case, we as a population have never been more removed from the farm. Therefore, more and more people don't have a clue where their food comes from. which is why farm days like this one in Bleckley County are so very important.
Farming is a major role in our small town. There's lots of farmers, and I feel that the kids really need the farm experience to realize where their food comes from. It doesn't come from Walmart or Kroger or Publix. I want them to learn where it comes from first, from the farm to the grocery store.
This is the county's second year hosting a farm day, and compared to last year's, this one is quite the improvement, as they've quadrupled the size of it this year.
This is our second year. Last year we had 8 to 10 vendors, and this year we have over 40 vendors from all different aspects of agriculture.
In order for the farm day to happen, the community has to come together, and that's exactly what happened. Everyone from the local Farm Bureau office to the mobile dairy lab. And of course, they have to have a place to host the event, which is where Hoyt Little, a local farmer, comes in. And he said he was glad to do it to help the kids learn about ag.
Today they was able to see a cow actually get milked and know where milk comes from, and they understand about equipment and what it takes to grow a crop and what you have to do and what you have to put in a crop.
In today's culture, people are 4 generations removed from the farm, and just as you would imagine, most children, and even people, do not know where their food comes from, which is why farm days just like this one are so important for kids.
I think it's very beneficial. Many of these children have never been on a farm. Although farming is prevalent in our community, some of these children do not come from homes that farm, so they've never been out on a farm. So it's very important for them to be out here and learn what it's all about.
One great thing is that no matter the age, farm days are very beneficial for kids. But when they're this little, according to Miss Sims, they take every little detail in and retain it.
They are sponges, and they learn and they pick up everything you say, everything you do. We have spring break next week, but I assure you when we come back to the classroom the week after, they will be talking about Farm Day for weeks. They can tell you their favorite thing. They can, tell you exactly what they did and what they learned and different things like that.
Perhaps, though, one of the best things about farm days is the real-life experience they get by seeing it in person than on a screen.
Living something and being actually involved in having the live hands-on experience makes it real and relevant to them.
Reporting in Bleckley County for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
John, thanks so much. When we come back, a city girl by birth, her heart now resides in farming in the ag community. See what happened when one of our newest Farm Bureau employees got a first-hand look at cattle management.
Soybean is incredibly good at producing protein and oil. Now in the United States, we prefer chicken or a cow or a pig, make that soybean protein taste a little bit better before we eat it, but the protein still originally was produced by soybean. And it turns out that as people's income increases and the more they can afford meat, it means having to produce more soybean to produce that meat, milk, and eggs. Soybean productivity has to become a lot more sustainable. Soybean is the #1 most planted crop in the United States, and it's predicted that by 2050 there will be more soybean planted than the combination of corn, wheat, and rice around the world. So with that much area planted, it's got to be sustainable. As far as breeding goes, our main goal is and has been insect resistance. Soybean plants that have resistance to insects are really rare. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. So whenever you find some plants that have a little bit of resistance, if you cross them together, you can get plants that have more than twice the resistance that the individual parents do. And that's sort of the approach that we're taking. So all this research goes to ensure that everyone will have access to a nutritious and wholesome diet in the future, and one that is produced sustainably.
Well, speaking from experience, when one hires on a Farm Bureau, something happens. You change. you immediately want to engross yourself in agriculture, learn as much as you can about the industry. Like I said, happened to me, and it's now happening to one of the newest members of the Farm Bureau family, Leadership Programs Associate Logan Barnes. Well, after hearing Logan's story, we all decided, what the heck, let's send her out in the field, let her experience the industry firsthand. And I gotta say, despite having no TV experience, she's a natural.
Hey y'all, I'm Logan. So recently I was asked, how does Logan from Augusta, Georgia, who grew up in a neighborhood, get so involved with agriculture? It all started when I was in high school and I was in FFA. I gained a huge respect for farmers and what they do to provide for us every single day. I went to UGA and graduated with a bachelor's in ag education, and here I am working at Farm Bureau, trying to do everything I can every single day to learn more about agriculture. So let's go. So today I'm in Sumter County with one of our Georgia farmers and agriculture advocates, Matt Berry. And today Matt Berry is going to teach us a little bit about cattle management. Can you explain further what that is and what we'll be doing today?
Yes, ma'am. Today, thank you for having me. Today we're going to be actually working this herd. We're going to give the mamas vaccinations and the calves also, and we're going to deworm the mama, excuse me. And also the calves are going to get vaccinated, dewormed, and the boys are going to get castrated. And the end result is to hopefully produce a better product for the end user at the market.
So Matt, it looks like you're mixing something up. Can you explain to us what you're doing?
Yes, ma'am. I'm drawing up the Enforce 3, which is a pneumonia vaccine that we'll give the calves today to try to protect them from pneumonia as they go through their young years and before they go to market. We're also drawing up or have drawn up our different vaccines to give the mamas and the calves. There's several we're going to give today. And our hopes with these vaccines is to produce a better quality product for the end user, and also protect our animals. Our animals are an extension of our families in a lot of cases, and you know, kind of how we treat them and view them. And just as we vaccinate our own children, we vaccinate our herd to produce that better quality product.
Okay, so as far as consumers are concerned and their misconceptions about vaccines, what would you have to say about that?
Well, every vaccine that we're using is labeled. There are withdrawal times on those vaccines. We use them in accordance with the labels. And as I said just now, it is to help produce a better quality.
All right, everything's mixed up. Let's go sort some calves.
Hey. Turn around.
Get back.
I'll let you do this one. What we're doing is applying a wormer down their back, just one squeeze, and this is to help protect them from parasites. And we do it 3 to 4 times a year. And like I said, that depends on the parasite load that we have that year. And we go from there. What we're doing now is giving the injection, and we're giving actually a vitamin shot over here. He's giving the other injections.
Well, there you have it, a sample of what happens day to day in a cattle operation. Matt, I cannot thank you enough for letting us come out today.
Yes, ma'am, we appreciate you coming.
I really learned a lot, and I hope you did too.
Logan, great job. Very well done. And folks, don't forget, if you missed any part of Logan's story or others on today's program, you can still see them in their entirety at our YouTube channel, The Farm Monitor. Plenty of stuff to choose from. In fact, the archive goes all the way back to 2009.
And while you're there, keep clicking and like the Farm Monitor Facebook page. If you have a story idea or if you just want to leave us a comment or suggestion, send us a message either on Facebook or the address that is on your screen. That is news@farm-monitor.com. Still to come on the Monitor, if you've got some maple trees on your property and you're wondering how to supplement your income, this is one story you can't afford to miss. Stay tuned.
My name is Linda May, and I'm an Environmental Outreach Coordinator for the Georgia DNR Wildlife Resources Division. I work with anyone who wants to learn more about nature, about wildlife in particular, anyone that's curious about the natural world. So that used to be more students and teachers, and now it's kind of segued more into the general public. Well, Georgia Outdoors is a PBS or Georgia Public Television show that is hosted by Sharon Collins. And I've watched her show for years, and so I was real thrilled to get her phone call. And she had seen some artwork through our media about the Youth Birding T-shirt art contest, which is part of a larger environmental education initiative, the Youth Birding Competition. And she was just fascinated by the quality of this artwork and wanted to learn more about it. One came up in particular, which was SKA Academy of Art and Design. They just happened to be in the middle of making their artwork for this year's competition. Shane Keating came out, he's the videographer, met him at the school, but it was a really fun experience. I thought when my roommate in college said, well, what do you want to do when you graduate with your wildlife management degree? Well, I don't know, I guess I'll be a biologist or something. And I had no idea at that point what it was going to turn into. I went into this career because of my love for nature and the outdoors, and it was bothersome that people were so afraid of what was in their backyards. And that's kind of what had me lean a little more towards environmental education. I can only be at one place at one time. To really reach the masses, I felt like video was the way to go. And I'm not particularly a camera ham. You know, whatever I would normally say to a family member or a neighbor that makes them go, oh, I didn't know that. I never noticed that before. That's really interesting. Just do that in front of a camera and see where it goes. I know I appreciated when someone would slow down and take the time to just share something with me that I otherwise would have walked right past outside. It could be a bird call, it could be something blooming, it could be a funky little insect, you know, but it just adds such richness to life. And it makes me want to notice more and more. It's beautifully complex, this world that we live in. And so to just give a little piece of that to someone, even when they're not expecting it, is such a gift. I know it was for me, and so I just want to pass that along.
Finally this week, fact or fiction. Anywhere you have lots of maple trees, you can make maple syrup. That, my friends, is fact.
Virginia Farm Bureau's Dave Miller reports from coal country and shows us how farmers there are tapping into a new alternative crop.
Brian and Amanda Hubbard raise blueberries and produce sorghum and molasses on their 100-acre farm in Wise County. 3 years ago, they started producing maple syrup as well. Virginia has a well-established maple syrup industry in Highland and Bath counties farther north, but Wise County producers feel it's a good market for them as well.
3 years ago, my son wanted to make maple syrup. He wanted to make a gallon of maple syrup for himself. And by helping him throughout the winter, I found out that I kind of liked the idea. So from there, it progressed, you know, from 10 trees to 175 to the next year to 350 the next year.
There are so many maple trees on Hubbard's farm, he may expand syrup production to as many as 2,000 trees. Other maple syrup producers in Southwest Virginia may not have that many trees to work with, but experts say they could grow their own sugar businesses by leasing trees on national forest land.
People think that it's a mystery. There's a big mystery involved in the maple production, and I get questions a lot about what do you add to it to give it the color, and what do you add to it to give it the sweetness. But basically you're collecting the sap, which can be done very cheaply, and you're just boiling the water away until you get that 66% sugar. The sap will come out of the tree at 1 to 3% sugar, and you just boil and boil and boil until you've got 66% sugar, and then you've got a marketable product. Those months that are so cold while you're waiting for the thaw, you can also be producing a very high value product that can supplement your farm endeavors for the remainder of the year.
Since he has welding experience, Hubbard saved money by making his own sap cooker. Using research from Cornell University in New York, he learned that 3/8-inch tubing will create a natural vacuum when run downhill, and that more than 30 trees can be tapped on each line. The lines run close to 1,000 feet down the mountainside to his collection points and then to his sugar house.
My biggest help this year was I invested in a reverse osmosis machine, which that reduces the sap by 75%. It takes the water out of the sap and concentrates the sap to be cooked. So if I had 100 gallons of sap, once I run it through the machine, I'll have 25 gallons to actually cook down.
Amanda Hubbard helps with marketing their syrup as well as running their newly constructed sugar house. She says their syrup is so popular, folks stop by to ask if some is ready when they see smoke coming from the chimney.
Brian's put a lot of time into what he's done and has put a lot of heart into it. And I'm really proud of him. And I think if people see this, see some of this stuff that he's done, they'll say, hey, you know, that does take a little bit of craftsmanship.
The Hubbards are not the only maple syrup producers here. David Lawson taps about 350 trees at his family's vineyard. He uses 3/8-inch tubing as well and describes his maple syrup operation as a hobby that went out of control. This year, he's moving his boiling operation away from the wine cellars because of all the smoke his wood fires produce.
It's not artificial, you know, it's totally from nature, and then you can get a family involved because they can go help you collect the sap, they can help you move wood, they can see it, bottle it up, you know, it can become a real family thing. Every year at the winery we're going to do a pancake breakfast with our maple syrup, and we usually have a couple other products made from maple. I think she's got a little bit of maple sugar, like maple rock sugar. That's just, we let maple syrup evaporate to make rock candy, kind of like the Indians did. We do maple cotton candy, and then of course lots of pancakes and syrup for pancakes.
6 years ago, there were 31 maple syrup farms in Virginia selling $78,000 worth of syrup. And the industry is growing wherever there's a large supply of maple trees to tap. In Wise County, maple syrup is mostly produced in January and February. In other areas, the sugar season runs until late March. Wherever it's made, be sure to order yours today or swing by your local sugar camp to pick some up before it's all gone. In Wise County, this is Dave Miller.
Pancakes, maple syrup, and the Farm Monitor. That is a complete breakfast. Unfortunately, though, that completes our show for the week.
Here's a reminder for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm. Be sure you check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and with us here on the show.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week right here on the Farm Monitor.
Have a great week.